Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me with another episode of the Variety Half Hour. Today, I am sitting with maybe the first J, maybe the second J in J and J. It's Julie J, also known as Julie J
Hello.
Comedy.
Hello, hello.
Julie, I would love for you to kind of give an introduction to yourself. I know you as a comedian, host, producer, but I'd love to hear like what you like people to know.
I'm still trying to figure out what I want people to know, I guess, because it changes so much, just with life. Like, oh, that's being de-emphasized now, and now it's this. I think in a nutshell, I am a country girl living in the city. I'm proud to be from West by God, Virginia, and um, it's been such a journey to figure out that's the authentic me deep down. I'm like, oh, I'll be a city girl for a while. Like, I don't think I really want to be a city. I want to be who I am. I want to be who I am.
Yeah.
So that's I think that's me in a nutshell. I'm figuring out how to live and parent and embrace being a fish out of water a little bit.
I definitely I mean, I'm not going to relate to this next statement, but I do understand that it can be hard to feel like an individual while also being a mom and like mom specifically.
Yeah, you definitely. I know that I did. I lost myself and like what you just don't think about yourself anymore. You can't, and because you know that leads to babies being left in cars, right? You can't, you have to think about them every minute and they need you every minute. So in that, you kind of, you are minimized, you're diminished and you can't help it. I mean, for most
Yeah.
of I tried through my pregnancies to keep performing. I mean, many people saw me hugely pregnant on the stage, which was a really bizarrely empowering feeling because it's I remember seeing pictures of myself at that time. I'm like, oh my god, like that's what I look like to the eye. Like dresses stretched to the point of them being see through, and I'm up there. You know? So yeah, it's been quite a journey, and like the things that you want to talk about have been things I want to talk about have changed so much because all of a sudden I have I'm not pregnant anymore, and now that 15 minutes doesn't compute. You can't use it, so it's gone.
Oh, you never well, I guess it is hard to release comedy, especially independently. Like, how long have you been doing comedy?
I've been doing comedy. My daughter is 6, and I started. Right, it's about 7 years. About 7 years because that's a fun story in itself. Like how I came to be doing it. It was because my husband and I were like we just couldn't get pregnant, and I remember it being like the thing people kept talking about. Like you have to just forget it. Like every person I see is here as a result of a pregnancy. I can't just forget about it. I mean, I can't forget about it. It's like
Yeah.
you buy a red car. Now there are red cars everywhere. Like I see every pregnant person. I see every baby. I can't forget about it. And so I took the Comedy Zone class, and what's 6 weeks of evening classes, one night a week. And it's absolutely terrifying. You cannot think about you really can't. You had to think about what was in front of you. What are you going to talk about? And what are you going to deliver to those 250 people on that 7th week? And it was such a crazy experience. It's probably the only thing I've ever said to myself, I can't do this. I can't do this. Cause like, we've all experienced this. Like you go up there and you hear nothing. That's your freaking fault. Like you did that. And it went great. And I was pregnant the next day. Like
Oh my God.
I was so happy. I guess it just opened my fallopian tubes. I mean, but yeah, it was such a cure for me in so many ways.
Okay, so this is a slightly philosophical question, but just hearing that story, I wonder, like, do you feel like people have completely free will, or do you feel like things are like predestined?
The more the more I live, and raised children and I've gone through so much, especially in the last year. I feel like there is definitely a predestined element to this because when my life
Okay.
wasn't what I knew in my heart that it was supposed to be, people who didn't even know that changed my life. Good ways, bad ways, difficult ways. Like, you're not on your path. And then all of a sudden, like you think about it and then it starts opening, like the path presents itself and you have an opportunity. Now, I think that the free will is in choosing that opportunity. When you're supposed to act on an opportunity. And if you don't, that's the free will. So I think that's where regrets come from. I certainly have some, but I think there's definitely some cosmic predestined stuff. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. It's good. Ah, okay. I was
And
gonna
I'm
say
not
it's good
like
to
I'm
hear,
not
but it's just
religious.
interesting.
Yeah,
No,
like
don't defend yourself.
I'm more like my friend identifies as a witch, and I'm like that's the good stuff. Well, sure, her witchy stuff is really really what I'm into right
Yeah.
now.
No, I just brought it up because I spent like 2 hours talking to my boyfriend about free will versus predestination, and he's a he's got his master's degree in theology.
Oh my God, they still do that?
They do. It's crazy.
Well, what does
But
he
yeah.
think?
Oh, he definitely agrees with you. Uh, to an extent, he feels it even more so than you. He feels like everything was predestined. Like
Everything.
like how a person was born, who they were born to, who they grew up around. He said he thinks that like if someone switched souls with another person, they'd still be that same person because of how they grew up and where.
Wow. I mean, there's a lot of interesting studies that, the twin studies, things like that. The movie Soul really messed with me for a while. Did
Really?
you ever see that movie?
No.
Well, of course, because you don't have kids and you're not dying to find a new movie to watch because you've seen all of them. But Soul is really interesting. It really is. I
Yeah.
mean, and philosophical questions like that aimed at little kids. I mean, it's not for them, but it's animated, so it checks the box. Um, it's like it almost looks like droplets of water, and they're like souls, and they get thrown down to earth, and then they just like, I'm probably remembering this wrong, but it's like little water drops are the soul, and they like fall into a body. But before they fall into a body, they find their passion, and they go to this like hall of, it almost looks like a circus. They go to this hall and they do things like they play basketball, they try playing piano, they find their thing, which is like their spark, and then that's what, like, they do stand-up comedy, and then they fall into a body, and now you got a stand-up comedian. Like,
I've
isn't that crazy?
definitely yes. I want to watch it now.
It's
Um,
good. You'd like it. I mean, it's a good movie. I don't even want to watch it with the kids. I want to be able to pay attention.
it is very wild that people feel like anything animated is for children
Yeah.
only
Hmm.
until it comes to the Spider-Man multiverse.
And then we're all okay with watching it. Like,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
because I didn't watch Soul, but I did really enjoy. I can't remember the movie where it was the young girl, her family was moving, and all of her emotions like had personalities in her
Oh, what is that
head.
called?
Yeah, that one made me cry. So I was like, that's
Oh
enough
my
for now.
gosh. Uh, my boyfriend teaches middle school and he plays that for the middle schoolers. It's about like it's not the one with the red panda.
No, not that
It's
one.
the other one. I can't remember what it's called. It's so good. I watched that one too. It's like, I mean, as adults, we need to see that, right? Like, I have trouble managing my emotions and I'm 40 freaking 2 years old. It's like,
It's hard. Okay, someone's Googled this before.
oh, yeah,
Inside
definitely.
Out.
Inside Out. Yeah.
That's what it was.
I would have
Oh,
never, ever gotten to that. So,
same. All right, Julie, I feel like we've got a good idea of who you are. We know you're funny, adorable. Let's pick a topic.
okay.
So 1 through
Wait, how are you
10.
picking these? How are you picking these topics? Are they on like a wheel or something?
No, I have a list of
Oh,
topics.
all right. Okay.
They are numbered,
Okay.
and then you get to pick a number 1 through 10.
Okay. Lucky number 7.
7.
Hope it's not math.
No, does your soulmate need to know a certain song or movie to truly understand you?
No.
Yeah, I mean,
No.
some context. These are just random questions that I've thought about, and that's it. So, just so you know.
I mean, we talked about this before, but like I go to the farm a lot. I call it the farm. It's my parents' place, and there is an Aerosmith song. I'm a huge fan of Aerosmith, and it's "Take Me to the Farm," and it's like this feeling like this. So that helps. I think it would help because sometimes I get a little bit like I gotta get out of here.
Yeah.
And it's when that feeling, it's like that's the perfect song. I put it on, the kids are in the back, and I just drive like hell to the farm. And then it's so that I guess maybe I'm changing my answer. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
Nice.
It would help. It would help them understand. And they're gonna need some help.
Yeah. I felt like there was a time when I felt like one song really truly impersonized me, question mark,
Embodied, yeah.
embodied me.
Personified. Personified.
Personified.
That's what you're looking for.
Yes. I did feel that way, but now I'm like, I can't even think of one thing that like
Yeah.
you would actually,
Ah,
you know, they would have to have at least heard one Linkin Park song to
okay.
truly understand me.
Yeah. Okay. You
Yeah,
changed your answer too. I like it.
I did. Yeah. Because it's like sometimes my feelings about the past are really complicated,
Mhm.
but just hearing like Numb by Linkin Park, it's like, you get me. It's there.
Yeah.
So,
Has your boyfriend heard this song
oh, yeah.
a million
Yeah.
times? Okay. All
Well,
right.
no, not a million times. He hates rock music. I know.
How do you overcome that?
I
I
play
know.
rap when we're in the car. It's like, yeah, he'll listen to whatever I play except for rock.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Like I explained to my boyfriend, I was like, I'm so glad that you don't like whiny, edit this out if this is inappropriate, whiny man music. There's like a certain genre of like, it was like in the 90s, like high pitched whiny music. And it's like, it's just whiny. Like, I'm so glad that we both like, it's hard. Music tastes
Okay.
hard to,
Are we saying like the Smiths, like Morrissey?
maybe, I don't know.
Okay.
I can't even, I don't even know. Like I want to like Wilco and I don't. And
I
it
don't
feels a
know
little
that.
whiny sometimes. Like I just,
Yeah.
yeah, that nonsensical. I just would rather you just be rock or be like they're like an in between. I don't like it. It's
I
like
feel,
prosciutto. I realize I don't like it. I keep trying it.
yeah,
I don't like it.
stop
I want to like
trying.
it. It's ham. I don't like prosciutto, and I'm gonna feel comfortable in my opinion now because I just declared it. So
That's a great thing to end on there. Can you pick
prosciutto.
another number?
Okay, yeah. You're like moving
Another number, 1 through 10.
on. 3.
Okay. I'm not sure if you have much of a background in like mental health. But this
Mm.
question is or topic. Do you want to discuss the similarities between ADHD, bipolar disorder, and anxiety?
I don't know anything about bipolar, but I think I have seen it. But I don't feel comfortable discussing it because I don't feel like I know enough about it. ADHD and anxiety. I have dealt with anxiety for a long time. I think anyone who's performing in any capacity feels anxious at some point. There, especially stand up, you have there's not a backup band. It's like It's just you. And
Yeah.
to know that you're going to have these moments of, especially when I have a whole lot going on, I feel a lot of anxiety. Like, um, I was just absolutely hell bent on taking my kids to Dollywood. And I have indoctrinated my daughter to love Dolly Parton, and she does. And I'm like, we're going to Dollywood. We are going to Dollywood. No one is going to stop us. We're going to spend all of Dollywood, all of your sixth birthday at Dollywood. Her fifth birthday was supposed to be at Dollywood. Our plans got very suddenly interrupted, so we were going. And I got back on a Thursday and had to go immediately into a show after spending three days with a 4 and 6 year old by myself, which was, they were fantastic, but it was just a lot because I'd never been there by myself. And I have absolutely no idea what I said. Like, anxiety manifests in me in like, I think I was just saying gibberish. I don't remember the show. I don't remember. I was so I think there's a lot you can do to manage it, and I think that there's no one getting an award at the end of the day for not getting help. Make sure if you have these things to get help. I see so many different people. I have so much help and support, and it has made all the difference in the world. ADHD, I had a partner who was undiagnosed, and I watched. I really don't like it when people joke and say, "Oh, it's my ADHD." Like, when you see ADHD, it is not a joke. That person is suffering, and I've seen those two things play out, and I've been very close to them, either it's personally or I've been the partner of that person, and I've seen a lot of other mental health needs go unmet, and it's such a hard thing, and you can't expect somebody to get better by themselves. It's I have a friend who always says, better living through chemistry. Like, get the medicine, get the help, get whatever you need. And sometimes, like, I've gone through really difficult things, and I've gone and I've had medicine, and it's helped me just get over the hump. I'm not going to be on it for the rest of my life. I just need to get over this little hump. I need to be able to function. I need to be able to work. I need to be able to not cry all the time. Like, sometimes you just need a little bit of help, and there is absolutely no shame in that.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
I'm not sure if that's what you want me to talk about.
I mean, there's a few things I'm kind of I'll branch into what you were just saying. It's like mental health for the most part. I mean, okay, so to start, I do have bipolar disorder. I also have anxiety. I've had anxiety diagnosed for longer. So the thing I actually know the least about is ADHD.
Oh, okay.
So
Mm-hmm.
that's interesting. But
Yeah.
I wanted to go into the symptoms of all three of these things are what stop you from enjoying everyday life. So
Mm-hmm.
that's when you said that the hump you need to get over, it can be temporary, it can be for one
Yeah.
thing, but I feel like each of these conditions come with like depression, um, mood swings,
Yeah.
uh, sleeping problems, oversleeping, undersleeping. And
Yep.
so yeah, I just wanted to kind of talk about that, like anything that we've had, anything that we've experienced, and just knowing that there's so many different people who experience these things, even if it's
Yeah.
different names.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, I felt the thing that has helped me with anxiety is the thing that I will like drag my feet the most toward. Like, I know that I needed to get, I was I, I do feel very fortunate that I have a very good doctor. I connected with her. She moved practices. I moved to someone else. And I was like, you know what? That's the doctor that I felt like listened to me and took me seriously. And when I hadn't seen her for 6 or 7 years, I was like, I found you again. She's like, and I told her what had been going on, the reason why my anxiety had been like just, bloomed again or whatever. Like, it was, she said, we are in, I moved practices because I wanted to be in a practice that had a full cycle of women's health. I want a nutritionist. I want a psychiatrist. I want a psychologist. And I'd always been places where all those things were disconnected. My doctor didn't know what my psychologist was thinking. Everything was siloed. And it's really hard to get help and feel like you're progressing when no one's talking to one another. And she listened to what had happened to me recently, and she was like, "I'm making you an appointment." And it's not. I had to have someone tell me, "I'm going to get help for you because you need help, and you're not helping yourself." And I think that is, I respond to tough love. So, I really needed that. Also, how it manifests for me, I'm either not eating, not sleeping, or I'm obsessing. I'm over planning. I'm like killing myself to tinker with my set, and I won't leave it alone. I'll get on stage and be confused because I've like, not confused, like I know what I'm going to say, but I'll miss something critical, and then I'll beat myself up over it. Like, you missed the transition to this other joke. Like, no one knows but me. But that's how it manifested to me. Now with the ADHD, I felt like I couldn't connect to that person. Like, they were very much in their own world. And I think either one of those things, anxiety, ADHD, they tend to self-medicate. And then that loop just keeps going faster and faster.
That's another thing to interesting connection. And well, I don't know how much it manifested. Yes, it actually, yeah. Anxiety, ADHD, as I've observed, and bipolar disorder all have impulse control.
Totally. Yeah.
Terrible, terrible impulse control.
Yeah.
I can't shop anymore. Like, if I shop without having an item in mind, I've literally spent hundreds of dollars just on things that I've never used. So that's a big thing that I had to deal with.
Yeah. I don't know how mine I don't know how I think mine comes out as self-doubt, self-criticism. I'm working on that right now. But I got up at 4 a.m. and I just shot out of bed and I was like, I'm awake. It's time to work on your self-compassion. Like,
Oh, wow.
that's totally fine to do. Like, it's that kind of stuff, that I think, it's when you're right, when it's impacting your everyday function. Because I got up at 4 a.m. and decided to read all the attachments from my therapist at 4 a.m. Like, oh, am I tired at 1 p.m. when I should be leading this meeting? Yes. So that's impacting my life in a negative way. And, I'm so happy that people are wanting to talk about it. Like, we have, I work for a big company and they have resources to help people. And, but I know that's not available to everyone, but I'm glad it's more of an open conversation than it used to be.
Exactly. I remember, like, I was originally diagnosed with depression in college,
Mm-hmm.
had a really hard time. And once I was medicated for depression, that's when we also realized I had anxiety.
Oh,
I
wow.
know, right? It's like we fixed the depression and then found out that I have social anxiety.
You do?
Yes. Well, I knew it. I thought I was just shy. But apparently, feeling like there's a cage around your heart is not shy.
Hyperventilating is not.
So, so I just wanted to kind of like bring you along to my journey for just a little bit to say that, like, some people feel like one thing could be wrong, and like mental health is such a journey
Oh,
to
definitely.
to getting to your best self.
Yeah.
Not perfect.
Not perfect, but I, I remember, again, this was like part of my journey as a mother. Like, I had two babies and I mean, my daughter we were having her first birthday party which was like a mini wedding. Like at the end, she's gonna walk down the aisle and leave with her husband. It would look like a wedding. But at her first birthday party, I was pregnant.
Oh my.
And so my kids are 18 months apart. And when I had the second child, I went into an anxiety tailspin. I need a support cat. I needed a support cat on my
Sorry, I'm just trying to guide her away
like
from the
could you
keyboard.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because she's gonna do that.
So
Yeah.
someone told me that if you get a fake keyboard and sit it next to your keyboard, that they will like do that. They will play with the keyboard. Have you ever tried that?
The thing is, I have two keyboards,
Oh,
and she will
you're like,
simply
I need
step
both
on
of them.
both of them. She likes to be on any surface that I'm around, which is fine when she's on the ground
Right.
and not when I'm on video.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah,
yeah, when
she's
I
yeah.
had my second child, I felt I was more alone with them than I was expecting to be. And I all of a sudden was having what my doctor um, euphemistically called dark thoughts. And it was really really scary because I felt it was me being overwhelmed. I was completely
Yeah.
overwhelmed, and I started. Every time you go back with your baby, they ask you this series of questions about this postpartum screening questionnaire, and I just kept failing it over and over and over. And she was like, "All right, you're not going back to work until you can pass this." And I was like, "Joke's on you. I don't really want to go back to work." But she kept giving me like a couple more weeks, which really did help me.
Yeah.
I did want to go back to work. But I mean, sometimes I wonder like who the hell is passing this postpartum anxiety quiz? I mean, it's things like you have two tiny babies who need all the things. Like I have one on the boob, I'm trying to pee, and the other one's like, I need. Yeah, they're not even talking. They're like, I'm like, what? I'm not. I need to be an octopus right now to get all these things
Yeah.
done. And the first question is, are you happy? Who says yes to that? Who? So yeah, it was rough times. I definitely
Yeah.
went on some meds to get over that, and it helped me. And then 6 months later, I was back to normal. But you know, I mean, I lost a very dear friend to depression, and it's something that you're not really sure what's going to unlock the magic potion, and for him, he didn't find it. So it's so I don't know. I guess you're on this journey with your doctor, and you just try to keep you just keep throwing solutions until something fits.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, for me, sometimes I do have to change my meds every 2 years or so just because they don't last forever. I will
Yeah,
probably be medicated for the rest of my life, but I'm also not too concerned about that.
yeah. I'm
Yeah.
really concerned. Like, is this working, and am I numb from the waist down? Like, that's what I want to know, because some of those drugs, that's what they did to me. Like, I'm just totally like, yeah, like no
Oh,
libido,
no.
no. Have you? No, not for you. Good for you.
Oh, no, no, sorry.
I didn't mean like
At
I
some
didn't mean like
point,
literally
yes.
numb, like
No,
numb in a specific area.
because one medication did make my body tingle like in weird times. And so I was
Really?
like, they made your legs numb? Like, this is
No,
scary.
that's just one area that was a little.
Yeah, understandable.
Yeah, yeah. But you know what? Oddly enough, when I was in college, I had a they called it a psychosomatic reaction to stress. I was moving. I had broken up with my boyfriend, and I was taking my exams all in the same week. And half of my body, straight down the middle, went numb. It was the wildest thing. They put me on so much medication. I couldn't drive. I dropped out of school for a semester. Like I have a wild
God.
history of this stuff. And I remember what was it? It was I was the only person in class that had a computer because I couldn't hold a pencil. Like my hand was like not working. I was eating a hamburger and I bit my hand because
Oh,
I didn't know where my body was. It was such a very, very weird weird thing to happen. But I think it's, what my body was like, this was, my mind thought that there's too much going on. So we're going to give you a big fat alarm bell. Like, you need to stop whatever is happening. And, I pay attention to that stuff. If my body starts going numb, if I start
Yeah.
having if I get really, really stressed, my eyelids will, flutter. I'll get these red, weird bumps around my eyes. Like, all of it is manifesting from me being overwhelmed. I don't know how I get anything done.
I'm like, I hope you will take care of yourself before it gets that far.
Yeah, I'm getting better at it. It also
Yeah.
I also would have asthma attacks, but everything was very physical for me. Very physical stuff would happen, and I don't know.
Yes. Uh, yes. No, I was thinking about gallows humor when you were saying something
Yeah,
earlier about like dark thoughts. And I was thinking that like comedians do typically have a rough past. Uh,
totally.
and so having dark thoughts and being a comedian, sometimes they do occur in the same person. Um, but that was it, actually. I was just thinking of that.
Well, you
Like,
know
you're
what?
funny and you've had too many experiences.
I think I've had too many people have said that I'm like an old soul, and I feel like I have a lot of dark, deep things that come up and sort of surprise me. Also, I mean, I grew up on a farm. I saw a lot of death. I saw a lot of like birth,
What does
animals
that
that
mean?
like
Oh, like animals.
animals. Yeah,
Oh,
animals. It's just like when you're exposed to that stuff really, really early on. I also think like farm kids just have an insane amount of responsibility at a very young age. Like, I was talking about this with my hairstylist today. I was like, I don't remember being a child because you're like, you wake up and you're like, oh shit, I'm late to feed the cows. Like, you're like 5. Like, what are you doing? It's just, you can't turn off. And so I think that naturally is going to impact someone who is predisposed to being, or maybe that is the natural path I'm just going to be anxious, because I always feel like I'm late. I'm disappointing someone. When I mean someone, I mean a living thing. Like, is it a cow that's bawling because it's waiting on me?
yeah.
Things like that. That's really weighs on me. But I do think that that experience has informed everything that I find funny.
Oh my gosh. I just want to
I
give you a
know,
big hug.
I know,
This
everyone
is.
does. They're like, "You poor thing." I'm like, I'm fine. Like, yeah. So what? I used to bury dead cows when I was a kid. Who cares? Like, didn't you?
No,
Cheyenne's like, no.
I did not. But honestly, it's been great hearing about you, um, talking. Honestly, I don't think we have time to do any news articles.
There's so much more to talk about. If you ever want to have a part 2, I'm here.
Yes, I think we should. Because the part
Absolutely,
one, just being an
absolutely.
interview, has been fantastic.
Oh, awesome. I mean, I really appreciate just getting to like reconnect and, know where you have an update on what you've been doing. I mean, yeah, I'm here. I
All
legally
right,
can't leave Charlotte. That's another issue.
let's go ahead and say goodbye to the camera people. Everyone, thanks for tuning in. This has been Julie J Comedy. She is fantastic. She's hilarious. She just got a really nice haircut.
Yeah,
So
coincidence.
look forward to seeing her on the road someday.
Thanks, Cheyenne.